everybody, it's episode 54 of EdTech Chat and Chew. Smaller group today, just Mike and I, but we're excited because we have some great things to share with you this week on global collaboration. But Mike, how are things for you in Pennsylvania?
Things are going wonderful. I mean, it's been a really exciting week, and lots of great things happening. We're trying to wrap things up before holiday break comes. But we're still doing some pretty cool stuff. So it's all good. How about in Kansas?
This is our last week. We get a full 2 weeks at Christmas this year, so that's kind of exciting for us. And we've been doing Breakout EDU with some fifth graders today, and you may not be familiar with it, but it's kind of the next big thing happening in education when it comes to technology and so forth.
Yeah, you're gonna have to teach me because I don't know anything about that. So
okay.
You totally have to get me on board there.
Have you ever heard of an escape room adventure, like a mystery dinner theater, but called an escape room?
No.
Okay, so people pay money to go to these dinner theater pieces. They put you in teams, and your job is in an hour and a half or something, you have to save the world. Like there's a mystery contagion that's about to be spread, and you have to save humanity, but you have to solve these puzzles to get the locks undone, and you save the world to get the serum, right? So that is what's happening in big cities like St. Louis and Philadelphia and so forth. Now it's coming into the classroom with a place called Breakout EDU. There's a website, it's breakoutedu.com, and all kinds of puzzles in there to help kids think critically. They have to work together, and you end up with this box. I would have brought it, but they're still working on it in the class. But it's a very large wooden box, and it has a special tool that has 6 holes in it. So you can put 6 locks on this box before you can open it up. Put kids into teams to each uncover different locks clues to figure out how to open it. And there's different varieties of locks. You could have directional locks, so up, down, left, and right. You can have digital locks, you can have, or digits, and you also have word locks, key locks, all these different things. And what Micah and Rachel McLaren and Russ Kale, who are a couple other great Kansas educators, I was a small piece in this, but they wrote one called Christmas Breakout, and it's all centered around the Polar Express. So the kids have to find all of these clues looking at Google Maps that we put together. I did help with that part, the Google Maps. And we had them look at other places around the world that have a big Christmas focus. So we looked at North Pole, Alaska is on the map. And when you click on that location, then there's clues to go check out this place, solve this puzzle. And eventually you put all the pieces together, you get the digits to unlock your lock. Of course, being a Disney nerd, as you and I are, I had to put Disney's Boardwalk as a part of that with the gingerbread that you can walk through and see all those pieces. I tried to get the one for the Grand Floridian, but there wasn't a great video to go with it. It had like the of it, but there's one on the Boardwalk with Stitch and everything.
Yeah.
If you watch the video, it says, how many pounds of sugar and how many squares of gingerbread and things that they use. We made a math problem out of that. So you had to watch the video, figure out the math problem, and then the answer to that is one of the digits in the code. So
it's almost like a web quest, but on steroids, like where it's deep. That's awesome. So do they have these that are already written where you can like take? Oh, cool. So you could even like steal someone else's that's already done or make your own.
And there's also a Facebook group. It's free to join, and it's been a very collaborative space. It's not like I'm going to make this and sell it. It's been more of I'll make it and then I'll share it with someone else. So one that was posted this last weekend was all in Spanish, for high school Spanish.
Wow.
It's genius, and they have them for science.
And that's how it should be. I mean, I'm a big fan of, teachers sharing their awesomeness with other teachers. I think that's great.
Oh, it's a blast. So Ginger Lumen, she's the genius that showed us how to do it at NERS, and then now it's come to this full experience of awesome. I'm sorry, yes?
How much time do you have for lunch?
I'm good. Little Smoke's here for lunch, everybody. Say hey. Little Smoke made the podcast. He's hoping that he can go get us some lunch is kind of what he's hinting around. Well, you need stuff out of here, man. And so that's kind of what a Breakout EDU is. I highly recommend it. And there's more and more opportunities coming for little kids in there. So lots of new things. There's a candy caper. There's one in there for high school physics and chemistry. I can't wait to see what comes out of it next.
Yeah,
So,
well, I'm definitely jumping on board with that. That sounds great.
oh, that's perfect for your class. Absolutely perfect. And what's great about it is once it's all set up, you as the teacher cannot give them any help. You have to just keep guiding them. Well, you're not getting the right answer. What do you think is going wrong? What do you think you need to do? And go back and look for it. That's really hard for a teacher because you're like, well, did you look at that right there? No, you have to well, I don't know. What do you think would be a good plan to go back and check this out?
Yeah. Well, it's that ties right in. So I thought maybe since this is probably our last episode before holiday break, that maybe we should do a little, what's our teacher, New Year's resolution going forward. So this ties right in. I'm going to share mine now because it goes right along with what you're saying. When I was a 5th grade teacher, I got really good at giving control over the learning to the kids. If there was a sub coming in, the sub just sat back and the kids rocked it because that's how it was when I was there. I mean, sometimes I'd be walking around the room looking for something to do because the kids were just so engaged in the learning they were doing that, it was going on. And that's how it should be, But transitioning to science, since this is my first year as a science teacher, I've certainly found ways to do that. I think of the Cell Project. Actually, when the our local newspaper came and interviewed our 5th graders about the Cell Project, I sent them up, a couple of 5th graders up to go give the newspaper reporter a tour, and I wasn't there. And what they told her is it was really hard because Mr. Soskell just told us this is what you have to do and go do it. And he didn't give us any direction to tell us how, or, it was really uncomfortable for us, which I think was great. Actually, the newspaper reporter wrote to me and said, is it okay to publish this in the paper? It sounds like you're not helping them. I said, no, that's great. That's what I want. Because it puts them in control and they've got to figure out how to take control of their own learning. But for the most part in science class, it's been more difficult for me to do that just because I don't know, how the standards fit in content wise. I've never, I'm teaching things that I've never taught before. And so being able to come up with activities off the top of my head or that I can do in all of my classes all the time to give kids control of learning has been, not a struggle, but it's taken time. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that I really want to focus on next year is finding ways to do that the way that my 5th graders used to be able to do it in the regular classroom, so that they're rocking the learning and I'm doing less talking and less teaching here, and they're doing more learning.
And this is a perfect way to do that.
Right. It sounds like a perfect way to bring that into my classroom.
And to get the box comes with 4 or 5 locks. It comes with 5 locks. The key 2-digit 1-word lock and 1 directional lock. And it comes with the box, and it comes with a smaller box that you can use to open this up. Your class has just been taken over by something. Open this box as a class first, and then you can get started. That whole kit is $100. Or if you don't want to do it that way, you have your own box that you'd like to lock up. They have an Amazon shopping list to help you get started. And they're really not making money on this. It's just to help to get you started and get rolling. And Australia just had their first breakout EDU kickoff recently as well. So it's really taking off all around the world. Highly recommend it. And for my New Year's resolution, golly, I think I'm learning to, this is Little Smoke's last semester, this next spring. And I don't want to miss any of it, I'm so excited to be a part of everything of going here, there, whatever it is. So I'm just hungry to always find new things that I can bring back to our kids. But I have to tell myself, this is your last little window of fun. So you need to prioritize just a little bit. And then next fall I can go crazy all over again. But I need to just focus on him for a little bit as well. Besides, it's just too fun to hang out with him. So,
Well, that is an awesome goal. I mean, you can't beat that. And, I went through a little bit of that, when I had the job I was in previously. It was easy for me to travel because I didn't need a substitute. And I did a lot of traveling, last year and the year before, and it was too much. I was away from my family too much, and, my kids are younger. And I don't want to miss things that are going on there. And that's one of the things that I had to work on this year was finding places to cut back. And now that I need a sub, I've been looking at a lot of the opportunities that I've had have been on weekends, because those are the ones that I can go to. But, weekends are the time that I have with my family. And so trying to balance that out, that's been a struggle for me this year.
Yeah, and I agree. But I have to remember that every season has its time. And after this season, there'll be another one that I can go and do whatever. But for now, it's okay to slow down just a little bit and create more quality things with us doing projects like we are now. The Kidwish we're getting ready to share. There's a lot of backlog that creates that, sort of a backward, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of backwards design involved in that and time that goes along with that. So now we're able to create a better quality product because I can really dedicate the time to that. So it's good. And
no doubt.
Of Kidwish, are you excited, Mike?
I am really excited. And what's great is I'm thrilled. You know, the last couple of years as a curriculum coach, I was able to work with other teachers to pull this off in their classrooms. But now I've got my own kids, and because we're in school next week for a couple of days. I actually have students for a couple of days where I can't really get them started because other kids I'm not going to have until after break, the way my schedule works. So I've got these kind of like hanging periods with that I don't want to start something new. It is the perfect time for us to take just an opportunity to look at, what can we do to make the world better and to share that with other places. And so I'm going to be registering a third grade and a fourth grade class that I'm going to have here in the science room that we're going to participate in Kidwish. And I see that our numbers are up. We're almost at 50. And the places around the world are incredible. I mean, Tajikistan and Russia and India. And I mean, really all over the world, people have jumped in this year. It is a more global project than it ever has been the previous 2 years.
And the way that you, Mike, have created the form to ask people, are you okay with doing a Skype video message? That was something that we had also seen from Scott Bedley, and like, that's a great thing that we can pull in. So if you really want to have a live call, we can mark classes together, partner them that can do live. But a lot of people are just real curious to find different friends around the world. They may not be in your same time zone. So if you have somebody from Pennsylvania who wants to work with the Mauritius Island, which is east of Madagascar, it's very difficult to schedule that to be a live call. But if you're willing to do the Skype video messages, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, that is really, in the last couple of years, the messaging aspect of Skype, whether it's either using the Skype video message that's built into the platform or even just recording a YouTube video and sending it through that Skype message chat, just sending the link, has really allowed us to globalize our classroom in ways that we didn't before, because it has eliminated the time zone issue. And we found some really creative ways to do that. I mean, Kidwish is one great way to bring it in, but through the 5 Clue Challenge, through different discussions where we just ask questions about now being in the science classroom, what kind of animals do you have in your location? It's allowed us to connect with places that we wouldn't have dreamed of connecting with before.
It's awesome. I mean, we talk about things being awesome in the U.S. all the time, but truly your whole mind is in awe of what is possible. And the teacher on the Mauritius Island, don't you?
Yeah, Mauritius. Yeah. I have actually I know two teachers there. I think it's Sachita Gita who signed up for ours.
Yes.
Yeah. So she's also a Microsoft Innovative Educator expert. She's participated in some of our EdTech Chat and Chew projects before, and she is absolutely a global educator in every sense of the word. She connects her kids on that that small little island in the middle of the Indian Ocean with kids from all over the world to do great things. So it's a great that she's a part of what we're doing.
And the other great part is I'm discovering places around the world that I wasn't familiar with. Golly, just the possibilities are just mind-blowing is a good way to put it. But I love the fact that these kids are going to make new friends all over the world. It's just terrific. Just
for me in the past couple of years, the world has seemed so much smaller than it was even 5 years ago. And I mean, people say that, and it's true, it's a small world or whatever, but like, it's really nothing now to, every day I have a couple of chats with people, in places around the world that I never would have, you just never would have fathomed that you could communicate with, I was, Sunday morning, I wake up, I was up at 4 just because sometimes I wake up crazy early for no reason, and so I'd pop into.
Did that happen to see you too? Okay, cool.
Kind of genius, right? So I'm, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm up and I'm checking my Facebook messages, and like there's, some random guy from Turkey just, chatting in to say hi. Hey, I love the projects that you guys have been doing. You've been creating. I'd really love to collaborate. And boom, starting off my Sunday morning at 4 a.m. Having a chat with someone in Turkey, just because you can, and that's exactly that's cool.
Exactly, or Norway, or
right,
Uzbekistan,
Taiwan, or whatever.
Everywhere. It's wonderful. And what I love most about our projects is that these give teachers who may not understand how to get started in global collaboration a nice kind of, it's an easy transition to get started. You know, whether we're doing the gingerbread, which we have 77 classes registered for this gingerbread project. I love it. And that's on 4 continents. So we have five. We're on 5 continents. I had to stop and think about it for a moment. So that's tremendous, absolutely tremendous that we're involved in that one. And we have teachers who are saying, you know, well, I get the idea of doing this little STEM challenge, but I never thought of connecting it with somebody else. I'm like, well, why not? And they're like, well, you help? Yes, we will help. And more teachers are jumping in. The Skype-a-thon did that too.
Oh, Skype-a-thon was a huge, huge success. I mean, there's so much excitement over that. And I know that, you know, Skype was looking to go 1 billion miles, and I thought we'd blow past that easy. And we did, you know, 3 million miles connected. And I think the number was probably a lot higher than that because a lot of people weren't sure about how they should post to Twitter to get their miles tracked. I know a lot of people that did Skype-a-thon calls, you know, or Skype calls during that time that didn't track their miles. But you know, the amazing thing about Skype-a-thon was the excitement brought in so many more people that had never connected their class globally before, had never seen the power. And you know, the question that you asked before that teachers are starting to wonder, like, I never thought of having the STEM project and connecting it to other places. You know, there's something to be said just in connecting because you want your students to be able to share and experience something new. But you know, that perspective that we talked about before, when you see the world as much smaller, what that does is that, you know, instead of the educational experiences that you can provide your kids coming from just the ideas you get in your school, now there's this whole world of ideas out there, you know, and it allows you to be a better teacher because now you've got all of these different resources and perspectives to pull from. You know, education is vastly different. It's done vastly different in other places than the United States. There's different philosophies, there's different structures, there's, you know, just a different way of doing things. And when you start connecting with teachers in other places, you get to bring the best parts of their system into your teaching. The best things that they're doing, you get to incorporate into yourself, and it makes you a better teacher too. Or at least it has for me, but I would think it would for anyone that has that kind of view.
Oh, I agree. I love that there's different perspectives brought in. I love that we're discovering holidays around the world. Just the passion for education, no matter where you are. Sometimes you get a little surprises because we found out that classroom management is not the same around every classroom. But that's not culturally, that's just from teacher to teacher. And so
right, yes. Sure.
But you know, I was talking to a gal from India this morning, and she's done 7 virtual calls with her students, and the bug is you know, obviously connected. And she said, you know, I don't know where to go next. I said, you can go everywhere after this. And she says, but I never imagined I could have people talking to my kids from the Antarctic continent next to penguins. I said, that's just the beginning. There's so many places you can go. And I was speaking with a teacher, or actually it was my sister-in-law. My nephew was in from Michigan, and he's a 1st grade kid. And she's tried to share some of this with his 1st grade teacher. You know, these are all these possibilities, and he's just doesn't know what she's talking about, you know, and I just wish every kid could have these opportunities. I agree. And I know that's your passion too.
Absolutely. You know, absolutely. And you know, we need to find ways to, you know, teaching is the best teacher, or, you know, being a good teacher doesn't mean following the textbook manual better than anybody else. I mean, we know that, you know, I think everyone knows that, you know, to some extent. And yet, you know, that's what teachers are being told to do in other places. And sometimes when you're told that for so long, for years and years, and, you know, the focus is on how did your kids, you know, did they pass a test or not? Or, you know, and, you know, did you follow the manual? Are you on the same test that the person next to you is in the other classroom? You know, you lose sight of why you became a teacher. And when we think back to, you know, we wanted to change the world. We wanted our kids to develop passions that were going to make a difference in the world and meet their maximum potential. And, you know, when you think of the reasons why we became teachers, and you see the opportunity today, educational technology has made it simple and free to connect with anybody in any place to bring awesome experiences to your kids. You know, that's, you know, for me at least, I look at that and I say, you know, that's what I want to be doing. If there is a great educational experience that is going to inspire my kids to do something great out there, and it's free, why wouldn't I do that? You know, why wouldn't I connect them to that?
Exactly. And then once you find out that it's possible, you will never teach another way again, ever. Yeah. You're sold. It's totally set. And I love the fact that just over your shoulder there, you have Figment sitting right over your shoulder. Yeah.
Let's bring him down.
So we talk about
the Figment of imagination.
For our friends who don't know Figment, you'll have to explain him.
Yeah, so back at the original Epcot, back at Walt Disney World, there was a ride, Journey into Imagination. It's still kind of there, but it's in its third generation.
It needs the love.
Figment is not quite the same character that he was in the beginning of Epcot. But Figment in the Dreamfinder would take you on this journey through imagination. Spark of imagination, things happen. And so, this is Figment of Imagination. He sits on my shelf just to remind me and my students that all it takes is one little spark to make incredible things happen in our science classroom. So
exactly. And I think that's true in every classroom. You just you have to dream what you want happen for children, and then you have to let them do it. And there's so many other teachers out there who say, if you want to talk to somebody like an entomologist in the rainforest, it's possible. You may not know how to find them, but we'll give you the keys for you to get started on your journey. It's not hard. So yes, just building off that for a second, there was a quote that came across my Twitter feed this morning. And, I'm a big fan of social networking in order to bring in experiences, because I think it connects you to people who can not only make you a better teacher, but also can allow you to find those connections for your kids a little bit better. And so many people look at Twitter and it's so overwhelming, and they say wow, how is this going to help me? And they have trouble getting started. And I never thought about it this way, but I actually teach a graduate class on having a growth mindset. So instead of thinking that, that everybody has a fixed ability as a teacher, as a student, whatever, that all of us, no matter where on the spectrum we are, have room to grow and are looking for ways to grow. And, the quote that came across my Twitter feed was, look at Twitter with a growth mindset. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to use it as this amazing tool to transform whatever. Look at it and say, all right, I've got 5 minutes. That's all I have today. What can I learn in 5 minutes? How can I get a little bit better, or, learn something just a little bit new in those 5 minutes? Mm-hmm. And if you look at social networking in that way, just in the same way that, Skype and global collaboration will change what you do in your classroom, it will change you as a teacher. And it will also allow you to have all of those connections that you can bring into your classroom at the same time. Most definitely. Exactly. I mean, just that 5 minutes will change your life if you give it a chance, especially if you have a hashtag you want to follow.
Yeah.
That Breakout EDU, I think that may be a new column you need to add to your tweet deck so you can see what people are.
Well, I am definitely going to be checking that out this week. Maybe over break. This week's kind of busy. I've got a couple of interviews scheduled and, meetings and, association meetings and stuff like that, but definitely over break.
And sometimes a Skype call will turn into a 3D adventure. Did you know that?
Yes. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay, I have to go fetch it. Hang on. Okay. Very noisy.
That's okay. So I think I know where you're going. Here, but let's see.
So we had a Skype call with a friend in New Hampshire, and they were talking about whoopie pies, which actually have a Pennsylvania connection to them.
Yeah, so when I saw your whoopie pie post, my first thought was whoopie pies from New Hampshire. That doesn't sound quite right. Real whoopie pies are supposed to come from Amish country down in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, but.
Well, I did. She sent the background information to these, and there's two different kinds. There's the kind that come from the Amish country, and then there's this whole section that started in Maine or Massachusetts, somewhere over there, and they were using fluff. The jars of fluff, and that's where that whole thing came from. But the 1920s is where it began. And in 2011, the state of Maine actually tried to make the whoopie pie their official dessert.
Huh.
I don't know if it ever passed. But I had a feeling when I saw
it would be like, I would think like blueberry pie would be more, more Maine.
One would wonder. Yes. So this whole box is full of whoopie pies created by my friend from New Hampshire. She used her great grandmother's recipe with this French cream filling, and taking it after our call today over to the 4th grade to say, hey, sometimes things turn 3D. And
I'm actually that's 4D because you got the you got all the 3D plus the taste, and the taste is the most important of the D's, in my experience. But
I have to admit, those are my favorite connections that we make where we send something back and forth because, you can tell a 1st grade kid, this is what turkey looks like. You can tell them this is Australia. But when you can taste it, smell it, then it's real. It's fantastic.
I don't know if I told you the story, but when I was in Kenya, when I traveled over there, and we rented the one house in the national park for the day because we're interviewing some national park rangers, we stopped at a grocery store, and I actually made my new Kenyan friends bacon and eggs while I was over there. And they had never had bacon before, and they had never scrambled an egg before. So I made them, we used some greens, and I made them spinach omelets and bacon, and wow, they were blown away.
You have changed the cuisine for these people. And it's not hard to make, even better,
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so after we get through the Kidwish, people have just until tonight to register. And we'd love to see over 50. So if you're interested, definitely join in on it. We have extended it just a little bit that you do not have to mail off anything until January the 8th. We want to give you some time. Even if you don't have time this week, you can make the cards when you return. And depending who your partner is, we'll have those to you probably tomorrow evening, if not first thing Wednesday morning. Whoever your partner is, if you are far, far away, we want to make sure you get your things sent off fairly soon because like that island of Mauritius, it's going to take a month for it to get there. But if you are connecting from Ohio to Florida, you can mail it, on the 15th of January if you wish. But we just wanted to give some time for those people to join in.
Yeah, I'm thinking mailing times to Tajikistan are probably, significant.
I'm going to guess it's longer than a couple days. You want to make sure you do that. And then I will also put in, when we send the partners, about checking this website to see what you can ship. Like if you plan to send anything else, sometimes people want to send snacks and so forth. Some countries will not allow seeds. You can't send nuts and those sorts of things. You want to make sure about that. But if you're sending paper, which is the cheapest option, you shouldn't have any problems. And then as soon as this one's done, we're going to be rolling out the registrations for the virtual Valentines about the last week of January. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that's about right. And that one's no mailing involved in that one. That's just, you're going to create a really awesome virtual Valentine, with some web tool for another class somewhere else. And that's always been, we've always had a lot of fun with that too.
Oh, I love the technology that they come up with because it's about creativity with tech. What can you do? And then we'll do Squiggles of Awesome, which is the art exchange. And that one is not tech related except for the Skype call. You can have students just draw and then they share via the internet. So good things to come. Good things to come.
Looking forward to it.
All right, Mike, what are you having for lunch today?
I had leftover steak, a little bit of steak and a twice baked potato and some garlic with broccoli. No, not broccoli, Rob. A green that I'm forgetting the name of right now, but one of the bitter greens, kind of spinachy, kale-ish, but it wasn't those things. No, Swiss chard.
Swiss chard. You had a very healthy lunch.
Yeah. It was actually, and the beef was even from a cow that was, grass-fed and farm-raised. So.
You're a genius. Little Smoke has gone to fetch us Freebirds, which is also grass-fed, farm-raised. So we'll see what he returns with me, and we'll find out. All righty, that's all the time we have for today, but you'll see you probably after the first of the year. We'll see you in 2016.
Yep. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.